What is dyslexia? Dyslexia is a specific reading disability due to a defect in the brain's processing of graphic symbols. It is a learning disability that alters the way the brain processes written material. There are many symptoms that occur with dyslexia. Before school, kids are late talking, learning new words slowly, difficulty learning nursery rhymes, and have difficulty playing rhyming games. For school-age kids, they are reading well below the expected level for your child's age. They have problems processing and understanding what he or she hears, difficulty comprehending rapid instruction, and problems remembering the sequence of things. Symptoms for teens and adults are difficulty reading, including reading aloud, difficulty with time management, difficulty summarizing a story, trouble learning a foreign language, and difficulty memorizing things. Next, I'm going to interview a student from Marietta College who has dyslexia. She's going to talk about the symptoms and when she was diagnosed, and also include the accommodations and modifications that helped her at school.
Hi, my name is Ashley Montgomery. I'm a junior here at Marietta College, and I live with dyslexia.
Ashley, when did you get diagnosed with dyslexia?
Before getting diagnosed, I've always had trouble reading, and in the military, they thought my condition was my eyes, so I'd always have my eyes checked. It wasn't. I always passed it. And finally, moving to Texas in 5th grade, they had someone come in to evaluate me, and they finally diagnosed me with a mild form of dyslexia.
What symptoms did you have?
The symptoms that I had, of course, was reading. I was below a 3rd grade reading level. And the other thing that I always had problems with is when reading, I'd switch words that weren't even there with other words.
Ashley, what helped you in school? Were there any accommodations or modifications that helped?
Well, before being diagnosed, they would send me to a classroom with a couple other students that had trouble reading, and we would read there together. Then a program came, and it was called Read 180, and we would go to a separate room that was outside the building, and there would be stations where we'd be on the computer and read. We would be in a little station where you would read to yourself, and then a station where everybody would read to them together as a group. And then when I was diagnosed, they wanted to take me to another school to help with my dyslexia. And being a military family, moving all around, I didn't want to make any new friends because I just made some. So my mom went online, she found a program called Read from Scratch, where instead of saying the letters out loud to spell a word, I had to sound out the letters. Also, I would have to put in an earbud with music to kind of keep my one brain occupied while the other brain worked. So, and then in middle school they also had the program Read 180, and I'd go into it too. During some of the classes, for like tests and stuff, we would get extra time, of course. We would be taken to another room. We would also get read to along with the questions, and together everybody would answer it together.
Now that Ashley has given us some accommodations and modifications that were used in her classroom and her own experiences, here are some ways teachers can use different accommodations and modifications. For example, teachers can give students extended time, pre-written notes or lesson outlines, reduce words per page or larger print, audio recordings of lessons, tests read aloud, not marking off for spelling, textbooks and audio version, and never force a student to read aloud. Next, we are going to hear from a mother whose child has dyslexia. She is going to talk about when her child was diagnosed, the accommodations and modifications in the classroom that were used, and also how she is doing today, along with certain methods that helped her throughout this process of dealing with dyslexia.
She was diagnosed around 4th or 5th grade, and the accommodations she had were a resource room that she could go to. She had an aide in her classroom. She got her tests read to her, and she got more time on her tests.
Were there any methods that helped your daughter?
Yes, she did the Orton-Gillingham program, which is like a multi-sensory program that uses visual, auditory, kinesthetic, all together, and they do lots and lots of practice. but that was a big help for her.
How is your daughter doing today?
She's doing awesome. Ever since she did the Orton Gillingham program, she just flew through high school with good grades, went on to college. She's currently a junior in college, has been on the dean's list. It has helped her just tremendously.
This mother gave us a great example of how her daughter dealt with dealing with dyslexia. What should a teacher look for to determine if dyslexia might be causing learning problems? Teachers should look for students reversing numbers, typical spelling mistakes such as HLEP instead of HELP, taking a much longer time to write and producing less than other students, immediately forgetting what has just been read, slower reading speed, mixing up left and right, and skipping lines as they read or leaving out words. There are many strategies for decoding information. Decoding is defined as the process by which a word is broken down into individual phonemes and recognized based on those phonemes. Some strategies include breaking down words into smaller pieces, using the context of what you're reading for clues of unknown words, and also word sorting activities. You can sort words in many ways such as onset and rhyme, vowel patterns, and syllable patterns. In addition, you can also have word walls. There are many strategies for improving vocabulary. Some ways are integration, connecting new vocabulary to prior knowledge, repetition, encountering and using the word or concept many times, meaningful use, multiple opportunities to use new words in reading, writing, and discussion, and also you can increase the amount of silent reading in the class time. Strategies for comprehension. Before you read, preview the book by looking at pictures, the table of contents, and vocabulary words. Also use your previous knowledge. It allows the new information to stick to the older information. Students should also make predictions. While you read, you should use active reading skills, writing down key terms and fact. And teachers can also clarify meaning by giving questions while reading. Follow-up activities are also good, such as posters, illustration, films, or interviews. Therefore, dyslexia is a learning disability that is common in the classroom. You have heard today a mother's story and a student's story about their journey with dyslexia. With a supportive and understanding teacher, dyslexia can be dealt with very easily and every child can have the chance to succeed.